Hey y'all, today back with Adam Rosenberg, first time guest on the show. Beat the Line, weekly Twitter space. Adam, tell the people about yourself.
Thanks, Matt. I am, I'm a Philly guy who's stuck up here in New England. I live in Boston, but I am a Philly guy, true and true. Used to run communications for a couple sports brands, Action Network, Better Collective, did some esports stuff, but I am honestly here to talk about a lot of things that look like with our Philadelphia Eagles that I'm very excited
Looking
to chat
good.
about.
I mean,
yeah, our 10 and they could. By the time folks listen to this, the Eagles may have clinched a playoff spot.
Which
is outstanding. So
clinching scenarios are in early December. Like, people even haven't put trees or done any kind of decorating yet in their yards, and we're talking clinching. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, we are truly ready. We're using all our karma now, because, like, if you think about it, we got a Super Bowl in a second year of a rebuild, right? And now this is supposed to also be the second year of a rebuild, and like we're the best team in the league, arguably.
That's the template though. Like the Russell Wilson, the Seahawks showed that you get the ring, you get your shot at the rings before your quarterback has to get paid. So
yeah, that's absolutely the way to do it. And the reason why, like, for folks that are seeing the video of this, I'm just setting up. There's some things we're going to talk about that I wanted to have some information in front of me just to look at. Some
that's all good.
Yeah.
So one of the things I obviously wanted to get into was rookie Jordan Davis, surprisingly going to be ready to go for this week. It looks like all signs point to that. I was typing up my notes before this, but I didn't it's like a damn near certainty that he plays.
Yeah. Well, they said we activated, I think it was like Wednesday, they said we activated the window for Jordan Davis, and the next day it was like Jordan Davis is playing on Sunday, and it's, you have seen, I don't have it like right now in front of me, but like you've seen him not being there, what has happened with that rush defense. I mean, I also do think that there's probably, like, every team in the league is basically between 27th and 31st in rushing defense. That's how bad, like, everybody's rushing D is, except the Titans. They seem to have a good one. But yeah, it's I'm excited for him to come back. I'm a little bit anxious about this whole he lost 20 pounds thing. Like, what are your, like, I don't know if I want necessarily a run stopper to show up, svelte.
But to be clear, I mean, that guy's a Mack truck. I mean, he's not. He's gonna. Jordan Davis and svelte are things that are really getting them going together. I mean, he's probably down probably was at 325. What's that, 305 or?
Yeah. I mean, he's a big dude. He's a big guy. I think it'll be fine. It's just because, like, it's not as if it's not like he's emaciated or something like that. No. Like, he's still 300 pounds. But, like, to your point, I mean, from PFF, like, if you ignore, like, the snap minimums, because obviously he's missed some games, he's our top rated internal defender. Like, he's like, it's not Fletch. Javon Hargrave has been great. It's absolutely Jordan Davis has been as advertised. He's been a steal. I think he's just going to be awesome. I love what they've been doing with Sue. I think they use him exactly in the right situations. They did it the last couple of weeks where they used him on goal line stances, and it's exactly when he should be used. I mean, this team looks good. I have takes on tomorrow. On how that game's going to go. I know that people are ready to jump off the ship, but I'm ready to go through with them. But yeah, it's going to be good to have him back, especially against Derrick Henry.
So you said you had takes. Let's just get into it. Let's not what are the takes? Let's just.
So I mean, it's just I just think that this is the Eagles are going to. I say this I've been saying this every week, but I think this is another Eagles smash spot. So
I think so too.
Here's the thing, and I guess the line on this game opened at like 6, and then it immediately was banged down to like 5. So for listeners that are not versed in gambling, basically what that means is they're like the Eagles are going to win by probably at least a touchdown.
Yeah,
this Eagles team just came off of a nationally televised game where they covered, but they didn't really look like they were in control in the beginning, and then they kind of let everybody back in. So here's the thing: is that perception would be, well, and the Titans are off of a close win. Why isn't this number 3? I guess is my question. Like that was my first thing. It's like, why is this not
at home?
Lower? At home,
you get the 3 at home. You get the automatically. They generally give even teams. They would give you the 3 at home.
Sure, right? Yeah, and but it was just very weird to lay such a long number and be like, we have no problem taking Titans money. That's basically what that line says. Is at the end they're like, we have no problem taking Titans money, which is one of the most profitable teams in the league. Like they were going into last week. I believe they were 7-3 ATS
against the spread. Wow.
Against the spread. Yeah. So books are saying no problem with this. So to me, that's indicating that that the way that they have power ranked this is that the Eagles are just going to like come out and they can win this by 10. And I do believe that there are massive mismatches on the defensive side that we're going to be able to take advantage of, because what is so great about this team is that they do it both ways. They do it on the ground and they run up 300 and then they'll do it in the air. Like, and Sirianni is basically like us. He's just a fan. He's smarter than us. He's obviously like a good tactician, a good coach, but you know, AJ Brown's probably gonna have a big game tomorrow because like, he's going to feed him the ball. Like this guy is aware of that stuff. And it's just, Titans don't have a great secondary. I think that this is an Eagles smash spot.
So they're going to have to control to make that happen. They're going to have to control Derrick Henry to some degree. I mean, what are you expecting as far as what's your, expectation on a rushing total for Derrick Henry tomorrow? I
still think Derrick Henry is going to probably give you about 85, 90 yards. I still think that's going to happen, but he's also going to get like 20 carries. I think that they're just like, because look, what they're going to want to do, like they have one game plan. It's have Derrick Henry tire out your defense, keep your other guys, keep your skill players off the field, and keep moving that way. Do it because our guys are healthier now and we could rotate folks in just like we talked about it before. Having Jordan Davis to be able to rotate in is and not having to rely so much on unlike veterans that we've just signed off the street is going to be a lot easier. So I do like it. I think, if you had to ask me, 23-13, man. Like this is just like Eagles win it by 10. Okay.
So wow. So I'm thinking the Eagles win bigger if you're telling me Derrick Henry doesn't even break 100, though.
Like at some point they're gonna have to start passing the ball is the thing.
But that's a bad matchup. Tannehill will be giving out some early Christmas presents.
I agree. I think it's been a while since we've had like we haven't had a sleigh pick in a while. Yeah. And it's going to be a little different. We got some injuries, obviously, in the safety position. We're signing guys off the street who are like, was it Blankenship, another guy, not the kicker, another guy that's just like was all over the field last week. It was great.
He was on practice squad, and then he made it through. He made a couple plays during the preseason, but he also makes boneheaded plays. So as it could be,
he's not. There's rumors of them bringing back Malcolm Jenkins, which I don't actually want them to do. But I don't know. This team's special.
Since you brought it up, with all respect to Malcolm Jenkins, this is one of my all-time favorite players.
Same,
Eagle or non-Eagle. He was, with all due respect, he was too slow to play safety for the Eagles when he went the last time when we let him go to the Saints.
We got him for exactly his prime.
Yes, it was over.
Yeah, we also got more out of Rodney McLeod than we ever should have gotten. That dude tore both his knees, and we got him. We got a lot out. How he's good at that stuff.
McLeod sealed a game against the Commanders last year.
Yeah.
So awesome. So Dallas Goedert will be back in a couple weeks, but for right now, it seems like we're not getting any production out of the tight ends. Are you thinking that that's what the offense is going to continue to look like, or are they going to start getting the ball to Calcaterra and Stoll?
Well, so here's the thing that I was wondering, like, do you know, maybe you know this, why are they using Tyree Jackson?
I don't know.
I love that guy.
Me too.
Former Buffalo quarterback. Like look, first of all, I know also, like, for listeners, a lot of times you'll hear beat reporters describe someone as athletic, and they don't mean athletic. They're just trying to say like something derogatory.
Yes.
He's actually athletic.
Like
he is
absolutely.
He is a freakish athlete. I am huge on that guy.
Yes.
He only had 6% of the snaps last week. Stoll, the issue with Stoll is that they bring him in he's an extra lineman sometimes for them. But they haven't really gotten that kind of production out and that kind of separation.
No,
they're due. They're not bad, but unleash Tyree Jackson. That's what I want. Like, I love that guy.
Yeah, they got Calcaterra the ball against the Commanders again. The first game against the Commanders this year, they got him for like not a deep shot, but 30-yard pass. And I thought, okay, they're going to try to start working him in there. But if you take away the production from Dallas Goedert, I mean that tight end room has done nothing this year.
No, and also Goddard, it kind of makes you realize what he was doing, because he wasn't like, it's not as if he was snagging tons of touchdowns, but he's hard to guard. He's a big dude, and
run after catch is amazing.
His yak is great. I mean, they have a lot of good yak guys. I mean, Calcaterra is looking like 29% snap. So he led on the tight end snaps last. Oh no, Stoll had 80% of them. So
okay.
But last week I was confusing with Boston Scots, but who are not the same person. But I like Calcaterra, but I just really. I would unleash Tyree Jackson against a team that has trouble covering in the back. I would absolutely unleash a tight end that I know can go for a 40-yard wheel route type of situation.
And for people who do DFS, go snag him. You can get him for. I'm telling you, could probably get him for so cheap.
Oh, tomorrow. so cheap. I love that guy. I remember him in college, because he was on when he was on the Buffalo team that started getting better. And I'm a Tyree Jackson guy.
So you think AJ Brown gets his big game? They're just going to force Sirianni can get him the ball?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, you heard him when he beat the Colts. He turned around. He said that was for Frank Reich, because he didn't like the way that he had been treated. And, Sirianni thinks about this stuff. And there is definitely going to be a revenge angle in that sense. So I love AJ Brown to 11 for a touchdown. I think it's like plus 130 right now on most books. And I like his over in receiving. I think he just has a big game. I really do. I mean, that's the thing. He's a guy who's tough to guard, and he's another yak guy. He's a big body. Gosh. He is a big body for his size. He's not 6'4". He's under 6 foot, and he's a good dude. I love him. So I was not big on the AJ Brown trade too.
He eats weights for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Weights for man. Well, we have a quarterback who squats 600 pounds. So.
I mean, it's amazing. This is our team. It's pretty cool, man. So let's go ahead and make some picks for some of these games this week. Let's get into the first one. So the Washington versus the Giants. That's the one that I will have my eye on other than the Eagles the most.
That one kind of caught my eye immediately because of how short the line was. Because here's the thing. I don't think that the Giants are very good. Like I think that the Giants, what the Giants do well is that they don't make mistakes.
That's right.
And they're very good at taking advantage of other teams' mistakes.
That's right.
Which is Dable seems to be a good coach, and they're doing that. Washington doesn't have a good secondary, so maybe Daniel Jones could take advantage of that. Washington is very susceptible to play action, so you have Saquon. You're gonna run at least one play action because he's a threat. Washington does have a good rushing defense, so it'll just be interesting. But at the end of the day, I ended up for a contest that I'm in. I ended up going with the Commanders. The Commanders have looked just so much better over the last few weeks, and it's a fishy line, and everything's telling me to take the Giants. It's a divisional dog at home and all that, but the thing is just that I have trouble seeing how this Giants team is able to put together points and compete up into this. I do think that the Commanders should have lost that game last week to the Falcons, but on this one, I think that the Giants are kind of a public dog situation. So I do like the Commanders.
Yeah, I got the Commanders as well. Straight up, I would take this line at 4 would make me sort of uncomfortable, but anything under 4, I would take.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think what is it right now? It's at what is it?
I saw it at 2.5, but I don't know what it is.
Well, it hasn't moved, and now it's 2. Yeah, it's 2. It's 2 across the board. I mean, it's like here like sometimes on these ones just take the money line on it, but I do think that this is a like a a public dog type of situation. I do like the Washington Commanders here, which is weird because it's going to kill my under win total for them because I had it under 8, and I think that this will be their 8th win, right?
Amazing. I mean, this could end up being the best division in football history.
The NFC least has come has come for its revenge. Yeah.
I mean, you might have I'm going to go out there and say now I believe that you will have 4 playoff teams from the NFC East. You might have 4 teams with 11 wins. It's a 17-game season, but that's crazy.
Well, it's also because like our schedules are so bad from last year. I mean, I had a bet that I made at the beginning of the season that was Eagles 1, Giants 2, Cowboys 3, Commanders 4, and it was like plus 2,500 for the Eagles 1, Giants 2, and then it was like plus 40 to 1 for the whole reverse thing.
Cowboys haven't played the Commanders. They haven't
played
either of their games yet, right?
No, they haven't. It's the NFC East is very weird because like this is the same thing with this schedule. Like the Giants play again in 2 weeks against the Commanders.
Yeah, and we play them twice in like 3 weeks, I think, or 4 weeks. I know we have them at the last game of the season, and then I think we have them before we play the Saints.
Those games may not matter, is the thing. We might be our game against Dallas may not matter
on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, because if they keep winning, it could be for the division.
Yeah, so we'll see.
But another interesting line is Atlanta favored by 1 at Pittsburgh, but the Falcons are supposed to be a playoff bound team, and they're only favored by 1. What are you thinking on that one?
So my first initial gut is to take the Falcons here. They're a very different team at home. They also run like a service academy offense. Basically, if you are a fan of Air Force, you will love watching this Falcons team.
With Mariota, the way they roll him out,
they do RPOs, and it's built that way. Look, I do think that that was my first gut and inclination is to take the Falcons, but I'm staying away from this game. The Steelers have looked a lot better since TJ Watt came back. Like they're kind of like they're in a groove now with like Pickett to Pickens. Like things are just moving. There are player props in this game. I love Pickens to go over because I'm not really a big fan of the Falcons secondary. But the Steelers are also finding that they can plug in whoever on their for the running backs, and it works. Like, I mean, Najee Harris doesn't play. Najee Harris is actually the only running back on that team whose yards per carry is under 5. Like Benny Snell can do it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was looking at it the other day.
I mean, they're going to be a team down the stretch here that they're not going to make the playoffs. So, like, the Steelers fans, if you're listening, I like you. My mom's a Steelers fan. Love you. But down the stretch, because Tomlin has so much pride in that team, he hasn't had a losing record still.
Now
he will this year.
He will, but this team, but the thing
they're
is
going to scratch.
If they have a good cult, that team has a good culture,
Yeah, they're gonna keep on fighting. So you're staying away from it, but what's your pick?
If I had to make a pick, I'd still I'd probably go with Atlanta. Just
okay.
They should have won that game last week. They're a lot better at home.
They're a Jekyll and Hyde team, really. That's their problem.
They really are. Well, they're not supposed to be good. This is but this is the right combination of guys. Mariota was supposed to be like getting things ready for Ritter. Mariota's getting himself probably a huge contract somewhere, but I don't know if he's going to want to leave Art Smith because that's how he got his career back on track.
So they trade Ritter.
No. I just think Ritter's going to be much more of a 3-year project type of thing. If I'm them, I'm like, let's move this around. I mean, remember like Cordell Patterson he was a Patriot. He was a Bear. Like there's a lot of guys on that team that are like, where'd they come from?
Reclamation
I mean, Kyle
project.
Pitts disappeared the entire year and got hurt.
It's so frustrating because I got him so low in all the fantasy leagues this year, and I was like, you know what, and he was just so. Even when he was in Mariota has played well this year. We just spoke about how he made himself some money, but he could not hit Pitts at all to save his life. He was missing him wide open all year.
He doesn't work for like what Mariota does because. Like Mariota's like running and making plays happen, and it's just him and Pitts. It's just I don't know how that's going to work long term.
No, well, Mariota again shouldn't. With all respect to Mr. Mariota, he shouldn't be anybody's long term solution. He's a patchwork quarterback, 6 games, and then move along.
Yep.
Jets 3-point dogs at the Vikings. What are you thinking of that one?
So this is like it's such a homer play, but so everybody's on the Jets right now because I'm not a Vikings believer. I am a believer in Kirk Cousins during the daytime. We're getting. And I also I'm not going to buy high on a Jets team with Mike White that just beat the Bears. Like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Do I think Mike White has a big game? Absolutely, because Mac Jones threw for almost 400 yards against this Vikings defense.
Okay.
But this is one of the toughest places to play in the league, and I'm not buying high on a Jets team that just beat up on the Bears. Like I'm sorry, that's just not going to do it for me. I will take
big. You're thinking Vikings big?
I think the Vikings kind of yes. I think the Vikings cover. Like I think the Vikings like take care of business.
Win by
it's homer play. It's homer play. But you know what? Like
why do you say it's a homer play? Why?
Well, because like they're the favorite and they're home. But the problem is, it's like, yeah, everybody's on the Jets. Like because Mike White. It's like Mike White has not beaten a good team. Like this Jets. Do I think this Jets defense is for real? Yeah, sure, but. That the Jets are also banged up. I think Zach Knight is their running back right now.
Yeah, or whatever his name is.
Yeah. It's it's weird because like when he played last year, Mike White heavily targeted Corey Davis, and I was all about Corey Davis last week, and he was the only guy who Mike White didn't throw to. But he had like last year, Mike White had a QBR of like 130 when he targeted Corey Davis. It was insane. So look, I like Mike White overs, but I'm on the Vikings tomorrow.
Something about it. I got to take the Jets. I think everything. I just got bad. If I'm putting my Vikings hat on in terms of, putting myself in the shoes of a Vikings fan, something about this game just doesn't feel right. I think the Jets defense is a legitimately good defense. And I just can't trust Kirk Cousins he did win the big game, the game before last. But I got the Jets. I'm going with the Jets.
All right. Let me see. I'm seeing if there's any interesting little facts that we have about this. Minnesota 4-1-1 ATS in its last 6 games. The Jets 6-2 ATS in the last 8 games. I mean, this is a movable object versus irresistible force. So
4-1-1. Wow. What about KC? It's a rematch of the AFC Championship from last year. KC at Cincinnati.
So I like the Bengals here. I'm actually getting on the Bengals wagon now.
Okay.
I took the Bengals to win the AFC a couple days ago. I think the Bengals are getting healthier. I don't care that Mixon's out. Chase will be back. I'm worried about this KC offense in the red zone. They've had a lot of mistakes. I like the Bengals tomorrow.
Wow. So by a field goal, by a touchdown, or just by hook or by crook, Cincinnati wins the game.
For me, I think that they played a fantastic game last year, and you can never count anything out with Mahomes. They're home dogs. I'll take them, to win win by 1 or 2. A nice little trick too is when you have a dog that you think is going to win outright, do an alt spread of buy 1.5 at plus money, and you get a little bit extra out of it too, in addition to the money line.
There's a tip message.
There you go. Message.
So let's talk about some other divisions outside of the NFC East that are a little less not interesting is the wrong word. Impressive, I will say. The NFC West, who you taking? Because the Rams, defending Super Bowl champs, they're done. They basically mailed in. They said they tapped out, no mas on this season. This season's over. But you got the Niners at 7-4. You got the Seahawks at 6-5. Who's going to come out on top of that one?
I do think that the Seahawks find a way to sneak into the playoffs. But just like we all predicted, Geno Smith is the 3rd best quarterback in the league. The Niners,
Pro Bowler. He should make the Pro Bowl this year.
He will be. He's great. He's
so?
the number 1 rated quarterback in the league. He's coming down to earth the last couple weeks, but
something tells me that it's not going to happen.
It's not going to stand.
Yeah, it's not going to.
No, I like the Niners.
NFL fan nation is so like the big name driven, and be like, what the hell? I'll vote for Geno Smith? No.
Yeah. No, it's so weird. Well, look, he's been on that team for 3 years. Like, people forget this. It's like,
yep.
I was high on what they could do with him because like he knows that team, he knows the system, he knows all the players. Like, it's the same. It's why Jalen Hurts is doing so well right now.
Yep.
It's the first time since high school he's had the same coaches 2 years in a row.
That's right. And Geno looked fine last year. You would have expected
fine. He looked fine last year. He really did. Like, he looked like he hadn't played in a while. That's really what it was, which is true. But no, we talked up Broadway Geno, as some of my friends call him, when he was on the Jets. But I think the Niners do win this division. I don't think that there's any value right now on them on the winning the NFC, but look for them to maybe snag a future on them right after they lose a game that they shouldn't. Maybe that game against the Seahawks for whatever it is. But I do like the Niners to win that division.
NFC South, what do you think about that one? That one is just that's what the NFC East did for like 1 year. 1 year the NFC East was bad, and everybody talked down and said that it's the NFC. It became the NFC least. And we did that one time, y'all. But now the South is awful. Who's coming out on top of that? Can you even call it coming out on top? Who?
Well, I've been a heavy proponent of relegating the NFC South and the AFC South. Just get rid of both of those divisions. I believe that like everybody's like the Panthers are still alive in that division.
Everybody's alive. I mean, even the Saints, because the top team has 5 wins. Well, there's 2 teams with
5 and 6. Yeah, I think they're 5 and 6. Yeah.
And then you have the Panthers with 3.
I'll get spicy. I want to see Sam Darnold and the Panthers come out of that division.
Oh my God.
Let's have some fun with it. I mean, look, it'll probably be the Bucs because they're overall they are more talented and they can kind of close some things up down the stretch. But like, I would bet on the Panthers right now just to have a little fun. It's probably like what, 18-1, 20-1.
The return on that, the return on that is just too good. You might be giving people ideas. Seriously, that's what you gotta look for.
Look for like I would look at like Falcons to win that division. I would honestly though look at Falcons to win that division because they have the thing is that the Bucs don't own their own tiebreakers against any of these teams because like all their head-to-heads are going to be like split. So.
The Panthers, your Panthers bet is interesting too, though, because they split with the Falcons this year, so it'll be other tiebreakers that would have to determine that. Yeah, I guess
I'm not sure what it is, but
because none of these teams are getting a wild card spot. So just to be clear, you win this division or you go home.
Yeah, basically, and then you hopefully are not making a big run because it's disgusting.
This year has been so interesting though. This is the kind of year where like some random team gets hot and like gets all the way to like the NFC Championship game. So
that's possibly like what That's the thing to look at is that the NFC, what it's like the Eagles, the Niners.
Other than the Eagles, it's wide open. If you don't play the Eagles, you could beat anybody. I feel like.
Well, I don't even know how the Eagles will perform in the playoffs. I have a ticket on them to be the number 1 seed, which I'm excited about because I don't have to worry about them winning or losing after that. I just have to have them get the best record. So,
I think they're a terrifying playoff team. Nobody wants.
It's the advantage that there are few places that you do not want to go to for a home playoff game. Philadelphia being one of them. I mean, I don't know if you have you gone? Did you get to go to any of that run?
Yeah, I went to I was at the NFC Championship. It was amazing.
Okay, yeah, like I was at the NFC Championship
the Falcons
years ago. The Falcons one, like years ago, and then I went to the Falcons game that we should have lost, but we won because Jalen Mills like mugged Julio Jones in the end zone.
And Julio mistimed his jump too.
Mistimed his jump twice.
It was like a double pump.
I mean, Jalen Mills is tiny, and I was just like, "Oh, this is not going to go well." Yeah, I was at that game too. I was also at the game where Carson Wentz tore his knee because I lived in San
LA.
Francisco, so I went down to LA and I watched that, and it was so amazing live to watch them come back in that game,
and then throw a touchdown. I think he threw either a touchdown or a 2-point.
He threw a touchdown because it was called back, and then he threw a touchdown on a torn ACL, and then he walked out, and then Nick Foles came out, and then they got down, and then Nick Foles brought him back.
And talk about spicy. A little plug here. I have a piece that's coming out, and basically my point is that I think Jalen's playing better than even Carson played that year or McNabb played in 2004.
I agree. So, I 100% agree. I think that I'm a Syracuse guy too. So I have like a very complicated relationship with Donovan McNabb. So here's the thing about McNabb. Like McNabb was built different. Like he was basically Cam before Cam.
Yes.
And Wentz was essentially white Cam and just an awful human being. And that is backed up by every report from the locker room.
It's backed up by the play of the team.
Did you see the video with Darren Sproles? Sproles. Oh, it's this video where they asked Darren Sproles about that championship run, and he basically, you can see all the wheels turning in his head to not say bad things about Carson Wentz.
Oh wow.
It's incredible. But no, like Jalen Hurts. Like, shout out to the Philly beat reporters who said he's athletic, which is because Philly beat reporters will not let a black quarterback succeed in the city, and they've never been able to do it. They were calling
even though
Kevin
a lot of black quarterbacks have succeeded, and they just grudging about it the whole
Michael
time.
Vick, Donovan McNabb, Rodney Peete, Randall Cunningham, but they never do. And it's Javon and I have this as a joke. It's like, oh, he's too mobile and too athletic. It's like, just say that you don't like him because he's black. Like, just stop it.
Is he a running back? No, he's a football player.
He's a football player, but he's also like, I think that what Jalen Hurts has proven is that Jalen Hurts is first of all, he's a fantastic teammate. Like, I mean, think about the fact that he lost his starting job 3 times in college and he never complained about it once. Never once. He took the clipboard and he was a solid team. He backed up 2 Heisman guys, 2 guys who won Heismans. If that had happened to Carson Wentz, he would have cried. Jalen Hurts, there's a really good, Tim McManus did a really good piece on this for ESPN. I'll send it to you after the recording. Yeah. But it was just about what Jalen Hurts was doing during the pandemic season. You couldn't put the quarterbacks together because if one got sick, another one would get sick. So he was with players that were never going to play. So he spent a ton of time with
that was the Josh McCown season where they paid him to sit at home and don't get COVID.
and coach football basically. Yeah. Because we knew nothing about COVID at the time, and it was. You realize that there was a period of time where we basically thought everybody was a zombie.
We didn't want to see it. You would see somebody off in the distance and hope you keep your mask up outside.
Yeah. So anyway, look, Jalen Hurts is the truth. Watching what he's able to do I think his ceiling is so incredibly high. And he's just, I don't get worried when he runs with the ball. I think he makes he makes great decisions across the board. Like, the guy only has 3 interceptions this year. Like, get off his case.
Crazy.
Like, I think he only has 4 turnovers total.
I think it's 5. I think it's 5 because 2 fumbles got lost, and 3 picks. Because that's part of I only would have known that based on the research for the piece. But
nice.
Yeah, it's 25 total touchdowns, 5 turnovers. He's on pace for just under 5,000 yards total. Like, when at the end of the season,
that's incredible.
Like, because he might be 1,000-yard rusher, and he's on pace for like 14 rushing touchdowns. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy what he's doing right now. 17 touchdowns, 3 picks.
I mean, look, dude, he should be getting more talk as MVP, and I think he's second or third. But
yep.
Watch what happens. I mean, here's the thing: if they finish with the 1 seed, or even 1 or 2 losses, Sirianni's got to be coach of the year, right? If that happens.
You said earlier that you got the Bengals for tomorrow. So if Mahomes loses to the Bengals tomorrow, for the moment, Hurts will be in the catbird seat for the MVP.
Yeah, that would work. But he's the only one I didn't take. I took Tua at like 100-1, like preseason. Which I don't think it's going to happen.
Good for Tua.
Yeah,
no, it's not going to happen.
I took all the quarterbacks. I took all the second-year quarterbacks too. I took Trevor Lawrence. I took Justin Fields. I took what's his name? Trey Lance.
Okay,
I took him.
Oh gosh, that one didn't work out at all.
I didn't put enough on any of them. It doesn't. It's not going to really matter. I mean, but I do have a Tua ticket, and and I just think, like, people don't realize, like, with Tyreek Hill has more receiving yards with Tua than he had with Mahomes.
Wow.
Like, he's having an insane year. Like, Tua's got talent, and also I think McDaniels is a great coach. The one in Las Vegas is probably going to be back on the Pats sideline sooner rather than later.
As always.
Yeah, pretty much. This is perpetual bridesmaid is what he is, and he needs to probably go back to that. That team's a mess. Though I do like them actually tomorrow, but.
So what about talking about divisions? What about the NFC North with the Steelers and the Ravens and the Browns and the Bengals?
So I was big on the Ravens, but something's wrong with that team over the last 2 months now. They just don't look good. They don't look comfortable.
Maybe
Lamar
because
doesn't have
they've
any
never
weapons.
given Lamar a threat on the outside. Maybe.
Maybe. Well, that team's very different when Bateman doesn't play. Andrews is clearly hurt. I actually like the Bengals to win that division.
Yeah. I don't think that they can. The Ravens defense plays with pride, and the Lamar Jackson is out of this world. They make it work with whatever running back they roll out there week to week. That's not a problem. But I just don't trust that. If a team makes it a shootout against the Ravens, if you can get into the upper 20s, lower 30s, it's over. They're not going to keep up with you. So,
yeah, I agree. Well, it's just that team isn't able. The team has red zone problems. That team should be dominating people, and they're not.
Nope. So the Birds, the main event, the Birds. It's at 1:00, but of course the main event for most of the people who are listening to this show, it's the Birds are favored by 4.5 is the last I saw. Who you are taking the Birds to cover?
I'm taking the Birds to cover. I'm going to buy it. It's fading against this team. I'm buying them at the bottom after that's all comes down, and I'm taking them. I believe in the Birds. Might even double down during the game, but we'll see. But I like the Birds. I like the Birds tomorrow. I'm not thinking twice on it. Who's
going to lead the way for the Birds in this game?
It's an AJ Brown game. We got an AJ Brown game, and Boston Scott's tough to tackle. I like his anytime touchdown, so grab him. Generally, I don't really like the rushing attack against this team, but this is a AJ Brown game. I think they'll do pretty well. So
What about Tennessee? Who's gonna play well for them and make us sweat it out a little bit?
I mean, look, Treylon Burks is an incredible talent who can do a lot of things on the field.
It's the name I had.
Yeah, I mean, we don't do well against those kind of players. That we don't do well against fast guys who can be athletic.
Cool wide receivers.
Yeah, who are wide receivers. I think he'll probably somehow find a way to have a good game. But look, I do overall, like, I expect the defense to step up, and I expect A.J. Brown to remember that he's to be on that team, and then he got traded on draft night.
Just don't give him the extra 15. Everybody wants to see, because I've seen so many people make it like their header images on social media with the A.J. Brown pointing at the Steelers.
Oh, it's such a great visual, though. I mean, I had the one of Jalen Hurts just going like this, which I was just like, oh, I love it.
Good.
I have that as a cardboard cutout.
It's so good. And
so
the
good.
Pointing is so good. But if it's a close game, then hopefully he doesn't do that to anybody. But I mean, I won't be too mad at him because it was dope.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Adam, tell the people where we can look forward to something else coming forward from you, and where we can follow you on social media.
You can follow me at Hey Rosenberg. I put that in my thing if you're watching this on video. But every Sunday, I host at 11 a.m. Beat the Line. It's a Twitter space that's at Beat the Line Bets. And just in general, I'm always pretty active on there if you want to ever ask me or any of our little conglomerate questions. But yeah, I'm just, trying to see, maybe I might try to get myself more into NBA after football. Like, football is just taking over for me right now, and we got a month left. And once I get out of that, I'll probably focus more on NBA. And by then the Sixers will have everybody healthy and won't have to be upset about it. But
will we? Is that a thing that can happen?
That's a hope from my end. But yeah, that's where you can find me, and that's where you can find my horrendous takes about the Sixers and
yes,
the Phillies and all Philadelphia sports teams, to be honest.
And of course, you can follow me at POLITIDOPE, that's me, my personal page. So if you want my horrendous takes on everything, then that's where you want to be. But if you're like especially stay out of politics, stay out of other stuff like that, follow me over at Mention Pod, MENTIONPOD. We'll just stick to sports, but it's a lot of fun over there. Thank you all so much for listening. And Adam, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt.